The executive order, quote, ending crime and disorder on America's streets, builds off of the 2024 SCOTUS decision in Grants Pass v. Johnson that opened the door for cities to criminalize people living in poverty. Through this work behind the scenes, we get this, quote, the overwhelming majority of these individuals are addicted to drugs, have mental health conditions, or both. Right. People who are languishing in poverty deserve it because they made poor choices. They don't want to talk about housing affordability. They don't want to talk about the 53% of people working while living in homeless shelters or the 40% of unsheltered people working while living on the street. Let's look at the research from the largest representative study of homeless people in decades from UC San Francisco, the UCSF Benioff Homelessness and Housing Initiative. Most people who are homeless are not using drugs regularly. And you'll see here, less than half of people experiencing homelessness regularly used illicit drugs in the prior 6 months. And 25% had never used drugs at any point in their lifetime. But the two most important things to highlight about this research are, one, that homelessness drives drug use. And two, a significant percentage of people who do report using also have been unable to access treatment. What should we do to solve those problems? Invest in a police infrastructure that will throw them into cages? No. Many people who struggle with substance use on the street are not able to access treatment. I used to work in a mandated treatment program in a treatment court where Medicaid funding was central to the work that we did. This administration is so committed to cutting billions from Medicaid that they don't care about the impact. Quote, shifting homeless individuals into long-term institutional settings for humane treatment through the appropriate use of civil commitment will restore public order. Surrendering our cities and citizens to disorder and fear is neither compassionate to the homeless nor other citizens. The assumption that everyone experiencing homelessness meets criteria for involuntary commitment is disgusting and terrifying. That this administration is eager to violate human rights is certainly not a surprise. Of course, there are people who need a higher level of care, who need long-term institutionalization, but this is not an administration eager to parse through who needs that and who doesn't. This is about rounding up people who live in poverty, period. And using words like compassion when talking about this plan is particularly nauseating. Do you know how much money was budgeted for new affordable housing in 2023? $12.8 billion. Do you know what was just budgeted for building detention centers for immigrants rounded up by ICE without due process? $45 billion. If this administration cared about the homelessness crisis, cared about solving it, do you think they would choose to spend 4 times the cash on detention centers than what they budgeted for housing? Trump's budget bill, quote, provides $170.7 billion in additional funding for immigration and border enforcement related activities because a large majority of this country can't tackle their racist beliefs. Billions of dollars are being sent to terrorize people who aren't white, with 72% of people detained by ICE having no criminal record at all.